Folks, today we're going to be making pecan sandies. These wonderful, delicious little cookies are such a delight, and when you learn how easy they are to make, you'll be doing it all the time. Good morning. I'm going to be making pecan sandies today. I wanted to share this recipe with you. I've had a couple of my viewers that have asked for this, as well as some of my friends local. They said, why don't you give us a pecan sandies recipe? And I said, okay, I'll do one. I wanted to get into the background of pecan sandies. Where did this come from? Folks, this is a recipe that just relates way back, literally centuries, because it's steeped in history with another recipe. This is a type of shortbread is what we're doing. Now, if I were making shortbread, I would mix together my flour, butter, sugar, a bit of salt, and I press that into a pan. I prick it with a fork. I cut it, score it basically, into little bars and bake that in the oven. Okay, and that gives you shortbread. It's simple enough. There's another recipe that's kind of similar to what we're doing today, a sand tart. Now, sand tarts, they use confectioner's sugar instead of granulated sugar. Oh, and that's another thing. If you've never heard of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar is confectioner sugar. All right, so if you're looking for powdered sugar in the store and all you see is confectioner sugar, you found it, okay? So know that now. And for those of you that already knew that, please forgive me because not all of my viewers know that. Now, the next thing is the sand tarts. They're really cool. No granulated sugar. We use the confectioner sugar. It gives it a little different texture. It's really nice. They're very smooth, yet they still have that dry, crumbly effect. Pecan sandies are more like the shortbread in that they use a granulated sugar. It's a more simplistic recipe. This is so simple. It's just a handful of ingredients. The method of making it is very simple, and what we're going to do here is produce a dough that's unleavened. Now, again, we're using one of those words, leavening. What is leavening? Well, leavening is when you add an ingredient that's an active ingredient that creates a reaction when cooking. For instance, if you put baking powder or baking soda in certain recipes and bake that, then it causes it to puff up because it creates carbon dioxide as it's cooking. The same way with yeast. Well, we're not doing that. We're using a recipe that has no leavener. So the only way we can get texture inside the cookie is through the method of making it. And that is done basically by creaming the butter and creaming the sugar into the butter. Just that simple. From there, the rest of it is easy. So let me show you the super easy and fun to make recipe. Hey folks, if you got kids, this is a good one to break them in on cooking or baking. It's a good starter recipe, and it will really help you grow when it comes to making cookies and other baked goods. So let me show you this fantastic tasty goodie. This is pecan sandies. Come on. The ingredients we're going to be using today to make this fabulous cookie is going to be simple enough. We got some all-purpose flour back here, butter, granulated sugar. Now for this, you've got all kinds of choices on your sugar. You can use brown sugar, light brown sugar, granulated sugar. Just go with what you like. I have here some of that confectioner sugar, the powdered. That's for dusting the cookies afterwards. Some salt, pecans of course, and some vanilla. And folks, I'm going to say this, when it comes to your vanilla, I'm kind of picky. I like the vanilla that comes from south of the border, and that's because they produce a vanilla that doesn't taste like it's been stepped on, meaning it doesn't have that heavily processed kind of flavor to it. The Mexican vanilla tastes like when you're using a vanilla bean. It's very similar, and I like that for that. So it's a minimally processed product that gives better flavor. That is our ingredients. Let's get busy cooking this up. Now folks, I'm getting my butter down in my mixer. If you don't have a mixer, you can do this by hand. It's going to take a little bit of arm work, but it won't be that bad. You'll simply be beating your butter and your sugar together using one of these, okay? That ain't so hard. So you can go at it with a spatula and just start working that butter until it gets light and fluffy, and then work in your sugar. And the way we're going to do it today, I'm going to be using my mixer. And that's of course because I happen to have one. If you have a mixer, use that sucker. And it doesn't take a big one. A small handheld mixer works just as well for this. All right. Let's look down in here. There we go. This way you get the same view on this that I get. Now what I'm looking to do is to take that butter from this, well, it's room temperature soft, but we need to cream it. And cream it means to add air to it. In other words, to beat air into it. So we're going to take it from the semi-stiff, still very just softened, that's all it is, butter, to a nice fluffy product. So here we go. We'll give that just a few minutes and you'll see it change right in front of you. It doesn't take long. Now I'm going to do what I do a lot of times and use a timer. We're just going to turn it on and let it count up. We'll see what it gives us. Okay, if we look at our timer, we've only done that for about 1 minute. And I have already gotten a much softer, lighter, fluffier product here. Now something I like to do is run my spatula over the bowl. There's a reason for this. There's always going to be a certain percentage of material that did not get worked, okay? So if you break that free from the bowl and then get it just started over again, then you catch that material, okay? There we go. Now I'm taking it to the slowest speed to add my sugar in here. I'm just going to let it come in there gently. It'll make a little noise, don't worry about that. Now the reason I don't run this on high when I'm adding that sugar, very simple folks. If you want the sugar to fly out of the bowl, keep it on high. If you don't want it to fly out of the bowl, turn the speed down. This is important. Now all my sugar is in, but I want to remove what I have on my spatula. So I'm going to do it this way. Let's let it cream. So as we let that cream and become nice and soft, again, it doesn't take long. We're looking at about 1 minute of total creaming time. All right, there we have it. Now folks, I'm going to add in the salt right there. I'm going to go ahead and pour in that vanilla. Oh yeah, isn't that beautiful? Come on out of there. Let that run on slow. Remember, anytime you add ingredients on a mixer, start it on slow, never fast. If it's a powder, it'll spray it out of the bowl. If it's a liquid, it'll do the same thing. It'll just shoot it out of the bowl. Oh, that smell is beautiful. Now, as I did before, I'm going to remove from my beater what I can. And the idea here, folks, is like I said, you sometimes get material stuck either to the beater or to the side of the bowl that has not been fully incorporated. And this takes care of that issue. And it's pretty much the same on every single mixer I've ever used. It doesn't matter what the brand is. Okay. All right, now that part is done. We're a total of about 7 minutes in, but we still have ingredients. I've got to get the flour in there, okay? So again, we're going to be adding in a little at a time, and we're going to let it run on slow. All right, in with the nuts. All right, so we have this like mighty ball that has gathered and I'm going to take this paddle out of here and just finish mixing this by hand. And we're at that point, okay? Wasn't that easy? Okay, folks, I have finished putting all of this together. Let's look at this. My total time on that was 11 minutes and 39 seconds, including putting the mixer up. Okay, so it is going easily and quickly. Don't be intimidated by this recipe. Now I've got the rest of my pecans in there and I've been just kind of working them through the dough to make sure that it's good and even all the way through. And it's starting to look that way, okay? So, now that I have my dough, and there's something I want to mention about this, you can take this dough and you can refrigerate it. You can cook this tomorrow, the next day, whenever, all right? This dough is ready to go once you hit this point, all right? Don't keep it more than about 3 or 4 days in the fridge, folks. But if you want to prepare it a day or two in advance of an occasion that you don't want to have to cook hard on that day, this is a cool way to do it. Now let's take a look at the timer. We're ready to start making our cookies. It has been 15:58, okay? So in all of my preparation, getting this ready, not including measuring the ingredients, which I did beforehand, but in all of the rest of the preparation, it was just that, okay? You saw it, and I was in no rush on this. I was taking my time, plus filming it, plus the time it takes to put up equipment and that kind of thing. So don't worry, it's not like a hard recipe to do. The dough itself, just reach in and pluck out some dough. Get some about the size of, a golf ball or a little bit smaller. Yeah, you see there? Look at that. Do you see it sticking to me? Nope, it ain't sticking to me, not a problem. Just take it and roll it and press it a little bit, just like that. And guess what, folks? Boom, there's your cookie. All right, don't make it any harder than that. Now, let me do another here. Ooh, looky there. Another cookie. Now, what I'm doing today is an experiment. I have 2 sheets here, 2 baking sheets, one with parchment and one without. So we're going to get to see how things come out. Now you see all of the butter that's getting on my hands. That's what keeps these things from sticking as you're working it, all right? So it's not like you have to have, I've watched different people use water on their hands and things like that. I'm like, folks, that's not necessary. It's loaded with butter. I don't know. Maybe I have just been cooking for so long that I don't think twice about stuff like that. You know what I mean? And here's what I'll do is I'll take and make a bunch of these really quick, just like I'm doing here. And I'm making pretty big ones. These are going to spread just a little bit. So you need to kind of spread them out on your cookie sheet. There. Hey, looky there. We're ready to go on baking up our pecan sandies. Yay! Well, the oven is preheated. Let's get this pan in here. And I'm going to cook these pans one at a time because I want to cook them on the same level, and that way we get an even comparison between the 2 cooking surfaces. I don't want to say, one was lower than the other or whatever, okay? So, in the oven, we're going to start that with 10 minutes. And I'll check that in 10 minutes. It should take somewhere around 11 to 13 minutes, but we'll see how they progress. Well, folks, these are now out of the oven. All I need to do is just get them off of my pan. Now, looky there. See how that came off really easy? Like 0 effort? They're not stuck at all. They're completely loose and free. Just as simple as that. Now I'm going to put my cookies all together on these cooling sheets, or I should say what they call a pan rack, is what a lot of folks call a cooling rack. There we go. In the commercial cooking world, these are referred to as pan racks though. There we are. Now, When I get my other cookies out, I'll have them all together here on this, and I can go ahead and dust them out with my sugar, and we'll get into the different ways of doing that here in just a moment. So far these look beautiful. They have nice browning around the edges here, good brown on the bottom. That's exactly the way I like my cookies. Perfect. All right folks, this has just come from the oven. Now let's stop for a moment and look at this. These did not stick at all in any way, shape, or form. These, well, they're releasing, but they are, as you can see with the way the paper gets pulled up, they're just slightly stuck to it, but nothing extreme. Looks like they leave a little bit of brown behind. So I'm going to say, if you have pans that, well, things stick to real easy, go ahead and use that parchment. But if your pans don't have problems with sticking, I don't think you're going to need it. Isn't that nice? Hey, there we go. Now, after these cool a little bit, we're going to dust them with sugar and enjoy. The quantity of the ingredients that we used today have been 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 sticks of butter, that's 1 cup by the way folks, 1/2 of a cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons, take your pick, be versatile with it, of your vanilla, 1 cup of chopped pecans, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and on your confectioner's sugar, just enough to powder the outside of your cookies, either to roll it in or dust it on. Okay, we have our ending here where we're going to discuss getting the sugar on the cookies. Now some of these are still just a little warm. They came out about 5 minutes ago. These up here are quite cool, well, slightly warmish. It won't matter that much as long as they're cool to the touch when you do this. Now one way of doing your powdered sugar is to simply take some and place it into a strainer like this, and you take your strainer and hold it above the cookie and tap it. Now I'm going to raise my camera up a little bit so you can see this just a little easier, because I recommend holding it higher, and that way you get an even dispersion, a real even uniform amount on those cookies, and you can vary it and bring it up to exactly what you want. So this is a neat way of doing it and getting it absolutely perfect to your liking, okay? Another cool way, let me show you this. Let's take our sugar and just drop it right down in a bowl. Now if you like them completely coated, put your sugar in there, give it a little toss, and boom, 1 completely coated cookie right there. Pardon my timer, it was telling me that it's time to get on with this step right here. So that's a neat way of doing it. Either way is going to give you good results. Go with whichever suits you. Some people like it just on the top, some people like it light, some people like a lot. So I'm busy trying to show how this is done, and I've got just about every interruption in the city of Dallas happening. Lots of fun. You know, a helicopter just now. Now, there we go. See what happens when I get low with this and really go at it? It gives me a beautiful top coating. The bottom of the cookies are not coated though. So this is a good way of doing it halfway, and it looks a little more evenly spread. Look at the difference between this and this. See how much more professional and even that looks? Go with this simple technique, folks. This is a great one to do. Man, these are good. It's got that dry shortbread texture. You have to expect that. It's tasty. I'm going to be enjoying this, and I'm going to be enjoying it with my morning coffee. Thank you for joining me this morning. Folks, if you would, take a look in the description box right down here. I think I got sugar on me. Take a look at that description box, and you will see there's some more information about me,
some other links that will take you to more information about me and Texas Cooking Today. This is now a project of S.A.Trotter Arts. So that's what it will be put under from now on. It's still Texas Cooking Today, but it's owned by S.A.Trotter Arts. Thank you for watching this, and folks, if you have any questions, any requests, just drop them in the comments. They're appreciated, they are read, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.